question here outside the statement here, and we will next to be Larry Miley here. What would you do different as county commissioner? If you're elected, what would you do different?
You mean what would I do different than Craig's been doing, or
Yeah,
different?
you're on the what would you do? Yeah, we're talking about what you would do.
Well, Craig, I really can't say that you've done anything good or bad or whatever. I'm not going to say that. I guess looking towards being a county commissioner, I'm concerned about, watching the taxes, the spending in the county. My main goal to become a county commissioner is, I believe we need to get something done with some of the county roads better. I live out in the country. I drive the shale roads every day, bounce through the potholes, that type of thing. And I guess my biggest thing would be to see if we can do something to improve the road system and without raising taxes anymore.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you, Larry. Craig.
Well, and he mentioned taxes, and that is always a concern. We've tried to hold the line on them. It goes up just a little bit, usually every year. Another concern is roads, and I learned before I ever become a commissioner, when I went to the state meeting, that is the number one problem of county commissioners in all rural areas. And when we go to our regional meetings, that's the main thing that's discussed.
Sure.
And we can make some improvements. We need to make some improvements.
Okay, Kathy.
Well, they kind of put the note going around talking to everybody. That was the one thing everybody mentioned was the roads. Some mentioned weeds and some other things. I guess my big difference is that from listening to everybody is that I want to be able to, like, when there is a problem, so if somebody from one of the township calls and say, hey, this road is a mess or something, I want to be a responsive one. I want to go out, I want to take a look, and I want to see what they're talking about. I want to see, so I can understand what they're saying, what they're complaining about, and have the same concerns that they do.
Well, next question is going to be what you just, all three of you just alluded to, because we did have that question and said, and I'll go to you, Craig, and maybe elaborate on it a little bit. What would you do to improve, or what do you think you can do to improve road maintenance?
Well, I think part of our problem would be organization and prioritizing things. I think sometimes we have a list, and when we get to commissioners' meeting, we throw more stuff on the list, and the original list gets buried. And I think we need to find a way to keep things prioritized. And, I get quite a few calls, and I try to go look if it's possible, and I call right away because I don't want to forget who's called and what the problem is. Like I say, yeah, we need to work on our road system. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Kathy?
Well, what I would like to do is sit down with Rick Katz and all the guys and see what they say. Because they're actually out there fixing the roads and see what they think we need to do. Is it finances? Is it time management? What the problem is? And then I'm a real time person, figure out what it is, come up with a plan, let's get it done, in a nice, timely manner. And I'd like to work with them on that.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Larry?
Well, we need to be more effective and efficient with the resources we have in Phillips County. And by resources, I mean our county road and bridge employees, the equipment we have. If there's a piece of equipment that needs to be updated, we need to be doing that, or fixing it, or repairing it, whatever. We can't just leave it sit there not being used. I'd like to see a few more rock shale pits scattered around the county so that when we are working on a road, we're not hauling shale 20 and 30 miles from one pit to another area of the county, because the cost of transportation hauling rock around is crazy. So like I said, we just need to be more efficient and effective with the resources we have right here in the county.
Okay, very good. We're going to take a little break here. That's the people out there. And if you're watching and do want to ask a question. This is your opportunity. If you say, I've got this to talk about, this is your opportunity to give us a call or text it, and we'll get a message from Rachel if you do get called, because this is for you out there to ask questions of the candidates and so on. Anyway, the program brought to you by the First National Bank and Trust, proudly supporting Panther Athletics. From our sales floor to your delivery door, come see Jim and Terry at Olive Bowie Furniture Appliance, where they provide gracious living for less. Professional family eye care. See Dr. Julian for all of your eye care needs. Coombs Trucking, you call, we haul. Wyman Firestone Tire Sales and Service, backing the youth of Phillips County. And Biggs Insurance for all of your auto, home, business, and farm insurance needs. And in case you're wondering, Rachel and I had nothing to do with developing the questions. The questions were all posed to us either on the street or on the internet coming in here. So Rachel and I, we're just the deliverer here of what we're going to be talking about here. Okay, the next question. Let's see, get down here. How do you measure the success of a county program, Kathy? Like the PCED, Phillips County Economic Development. You know, we have that program. How do you measure the success of that?
Well, I know it's helped a lot of organizations be able to do things with money and stuff like that. How would I measure its success? Well, I just, the new things that are going on around town and stuff that they've contributed and stuff, that's how I would measure its success.
Okay, Larry?
Well, there has to be some goals set by the economic development. Of course, they get so many tax dollars every year that they can spend for different projects. And like Kathy said, you've got to look at the accomplishments every year, how many little businesses you helped, how much you spent, what kind of results you got from that spending. Did you help start a business that only lasted 1 year, or did you help start a business that lasted a lifetime, you know? And that's where the board has to look at those applications and make some good decisions on what they will fund and what they won't.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Larry. Great.
Pretty much agree with them. You know, I think Nick's doing a wonderful job. He kind of walked into a tough situation when he took it over. Retention and bringing people back to the community is important, and I think they've done a good job of that. And if you look on the main streets, especially Phillipsburg, Logan, basically they're full. I mean, I've been very impressed with Nick and economic development.
Okay, very good. All right. Next thing, with the acquisition of the building north of Phillipsburg for the road and maintenance and so on, suggestions would you have of the old building? What, Larry, this would be your question. Suggestions of how the old building can be used by the county.
Well, it's my understanding, and this is just hearsay, that we're going to put up some new buildings at the new site, something that will better accommodate the county road department with their mechanic shop and noxious weed department and things like that. Now, I'm not real sure at one time I'd heard that the old site was going to be sold or try to sell it. Is that, I don't know whether that's true or not.
What I've heard is it's not, they offered to the city, and this is on the city declined, is what I've heard, again, hearsay. So that's all I know on that there. So
Oh,
I don't know,
okay.
I guess the question is, what could that be used for? How could it be used if it wasn't sold, I guess, is it?
Well, if they move everything out to the other side, then obviously they won't be using this. I think it's a block in there.
Sure.
That's a good question. It'd cost a lot of money to tear down those buildings, clean the site up. So I don't know if maybe a park or something like
Sure.
that. I don't know. There has to be some good community use
Sure.
for it.
Fine. Okay, fine. Being a commissioner, maybe you know you're a little more.
Well, I think we did unofficially talk to the city. Now, I'm not aware that they said no.
Okay, well, okay. And I say, it was hearsay that I
Yeah.
heard, you know.
Yeah, now, as far as what's there now, what we're using, I think at least 2 of the buildings need to come down. One thought I've had, and it might be a horrible idea, that I just saw in the paper and I think on Facebook about the housing people wanting land. And I thought either the west lot that we have that we keep some equipment on, which we probably won't need it, or that block, which would probably take some major dirt work after all the years. But I just thought that might be a possibility.
Okay, all right. Kathy?
Okay, my idea is just way out of this world, but they're always trying to get more businesses and stuff to come to Phillips County. And I know how Colby has an outreach through Norton for the nursing program. Beloit has a heavy equipment training there. They're the only place in the state of Kansas that has heavy equipment. And my son went through the program, and he, they need heavy equipment operators. He can apply for a job and have one like that. I would love to see if there is some way we could do an outreach through Beloit, have the kids stay here. It would create housing, it would create people spending money here. We could get like Bulls Construction and a bunch of them involved, and somehow we could do an outreach program and maybe use part of that site and stuff for training through Beloit. Like I said, it's a crazy idea, but that's something I would love to see.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Now, let's see, Phillips County has 3 commissioners. I think, is it your turn now, Larry, to go? I think, are you first?
I
Okay.
think it's Craig's.
Larry,
Craig's turn.
okay.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Your turn.
You're gonna
Okay, it's you,
I took the
okay.
last one first.
First question, Phillips County has 3 commissioners. At one time, there was a talk 5 commissioners. How do you feel about a 3-commissioner government as opposed to a 5-commissioner government for Phillips County?
I wouldn't be opposed to 5 commissioners. I think, it's a lot of, I won't say pressure, but a lot of put on just 3 individuals. And I think if you have 5, you're more apt to come up with the right solution more often.
Okay,
Well, he does make some good points, because I've been on lots of boards, and sometimes you feel overwhelmed with everything you have to do. And if you have more people to divvy it up and stuff, it does lessen the thing. But I have noticed in researching a lot of this, a lot of states, towns, and whatever, it's a 3-commissioner. That seems to be there's actually some places that have 1 commissioner. Then there isn't
Wow.
even.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I could see it being a good thing. Yeah.
I think there is 1 or 2 counties in the state that do have 5 commissioners, maybe.
Saline County?
Saline
I think
County did.
Saline County does, I
Okay.
know they.
I was thinking
This is- yeah.
there was at least 1 county that did, and I haven't talked to anybody down there to know how it works. But when there is only 3 commissioners, that does, the vote can really be changed. I mean, they're screwed one way or the other. Of course, everything's based on population. And they did some reorganization of the districts just a few years ago, I think since the last election. And it's all based on population. And I guess if you looked at the 5-commissioner deal, how many would actually be in the city, like for Phillipsburg? Right now, we have the possibility of having 2. In the last election, we could have had 2
Right.
city people on the commission. And if we go to a 5-person commission, would there be still 2 city people or possibly 3? I don't know.
Sure.
I guess the change in that's probably something that would have to come up to the voters.
And the population would have obviously a lot to do with it there. I think it's something like that. Okay, next question. About the hospital. What do you see?
I did the last one.
Okay,
It's
you're first. Okay.
I'm first.
Looking at the hospital, what do you see the future of the Phillips County Hospital?
Okay, so, my opinion, I think hospitals are very important for small communities. And not to criticize, but when they were building the new one down in Plainville, me and my husband were like, oh, why are they building that and all this and that. I do taxes for several counties, and I'm shocked how many people from Norton go to Plainville, Phillipsburg go to Plainville. You know, there's a lot of people from these communities that go down there because the new doctors are coming to the new hospital because it's set up from them, you know. And I actually think it has helped their community grow, that hospital. I know so many people that from Hayes that go to Plainville and not to Hayes. So I think the hospital is a very important part of this community, and I think we need to do whatever we possible to keep it going. And, you know, whether it's a new hospital, it's remodelization, it's getting new doctors, but it's a very important of Phillipsburg and Phillips County. So,
Larry?
Well, there's no question in my mind that the Phillipsburg community needs a hospital. If you're in an accident, you need to go to the emergency room, even if it's just a kid needing stitches in their head or something. So we cannot go without a hospital. And but whether we needed a $26 million hospital, as was the last vote, that's a real good question. That's debatable. I think that issue needs to be looked at again by some committee and see if they can come up with another option. You know, I don't care what problem it is, whether it's a new hospital, a road bridge, or what. There's more than one answer to every problem. And sometimes there's, you know, option A, option B, and maybe even option C, a combination of the two. So I'm sure we'll see the hospital deal come up again. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. But we do need a hospital.
Okay, fine, thank you. Great.
I'm a huge hospital supporter. I'm here in part because of them. I suffered cardiac arrest in 2010, and they were able to stabilize me and get me moved on. With what Larry said, you know, I'm not sure. Right now, I don't think there'd be any way that the people of Phillips County would vote. I mean, I think they made a pretty loud statement last time. I think the hospital's done a good job of working with what they have and trying to make the improvements. There's still a lot of improvements to be made, and you know, the thing is, there's a limit to what you can do in that building. So eventually, a decision is going to have to be made, probably. But we can't afford to lose our hospital. We absolutely cannot afford to lose it.
Very good, thank you. We'll have another question. You have heard anything yet? Had any problem? Well, again, if you're out there want to ask the candidates a question, give them a text at the phone number on the bottom of your screen there, because we'd like to have you ask a question of the candidates here. We'll get back to more questions after a reminder that the Tadpole, the special edition of the Tadpole, brought to you by all your friends at the Farmers State Bank in Phillipsburg, where interest begins the moment you enter the door, interest in you. Mapes and Miller, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Mid-America Real Estate, providing the best homes in the area for over 40 years. Blossoms and Butterflies, making beautiful flowers a part of your life. Madison Motors, in business for over 70 years. And Rogers & Associates, your local trusted choice agency. It makes it possible for us to do these shows like this and go out to the fair and do something every Thursday morning. With the Thursday morning coming up, it's going to be a big show on, of course, the rodeo coming up. Okay, I guess this is the final question we have since we didn't get anyone. And let's see, it's your turn, Larry.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the biggest problem now, in your opinion, facing Phillips County?
Well, the biggest problem I see is rising taxes. You know, I'm a landowner, cattle rancher. I pay my taxes, and the last couple of years, taxes have gone up significantly. And I realize that a lot of that is probably due to the oil and gas revenue. Mm-hmm. Okay, because that has dropped a lot. You know, since oil was over $100 a barrel years ago, and now it's down. So the revenue from that aspect has dropped. And anytime that kind of revenue drops, you have to find a different place to find the tax dollars. And maybe that's part of the reason taxes have gone up. Maybe just, I don't know. But people are getting tired of the tax rise and not seeing much results out of it. A farmer goes to town and pays his taxes on the way home. He bounces through a pothole in the road. He's not very happy about that. And so roads and taxes are the biggest problem in the county, I think.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Craig?
And I think, the road situation, like I say, we do need to take a better look at it and come up with more answers. Taxes, you have to balance the taxes with making sure we provide the services that are needed, EMS, fire, county health, all those. And the tax situation is probably not going to get any better. I mean, no time soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Kathy?
Well, from driving around and talking to people, the roads was the main concern of most people. So I really think we need to look in the roads, because I feel people don't mind paying for something if they feel like they're getting something back, kind of like Larry said. They feel like they had good roads, they had good fire and everything, then they don't mind paying that. So I think we need to look at the roads and then go on from there.
Okay, fine. We have a final comment from each one of you in just a moment. No calls? Okay, well, that surprised me. Anyway, the program also brought to you by Phillips County Health Systems, Olive Bovey Memorial Chapel, Stephen E. Russ, your State Farm agent, Sonic Drive-In, like us on Facebook to see our Sonic deals, Phillipsburg Chamber and Main Street, where the roads are paved with opportunity, Farmers and Ranchers Outlet, J&R, High-Vac R, and Prairie Horizon Agri Energy USA Clean Fuels, making it possible for us to do things like this and hear from the candidates. Okay, final comment. We're going to work the other way now. We'll start with the end of the alphabet toward the front of it. Craig, final comment again on your candidacy and what you want to happen.
Well, Tad, first I want to thank you and My Phillips County Online for hosting this evening. Give the voters a chance to hear a little bit from each of us. It's been an honor to serve Southern Phillips County as commissioner for the last 3.5 years plus. As a commissioner, I've tried to listen, find the facts, and make the best decision possible. No one's perfect. We'll make mistakes. The only thing I can promise is that I'll always vote for what I think is best for my district and for Phillips County. A little bit of a personal note. There's many in the Logan area where we've kind of had a family health issue. Had a grandson born 2 months premature, end of May, so we spent a lot of time in Wichita on the phone. I haven't got around to talk to people like I'd hoped to. If anybody has any questions or concern, give me a call at 785-689-8370. And if I can't answer the phone, leave your name and phone number, and I'll call you back as soon as I can.
Great.
And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Craig. Okay, Larry.
Okay, I just want to encourage everybody out there that's eligible to vote in this election to get to the polls on August 7th, because your vote does count. And if you hadn't made up your mind before tonight, hopefully some of the answers at this session will help you decide who you want to vote for, whether it's Kathy or myself or Craig. But your vote does count. Personally, I'd like to be your next commissioner. I think I'm qualified. I worked in this county 30 years with the Conservation Service. I traveled around the county. There's barely a road out there I haven't been over in my lifetime, working with farmers, and I know most of the farmers out there, very well. I think I could do everybody a good job and help with the road system and just make a difference.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Kathy.
I guess I want to say briefly a little bit about my family, and thank you for putting me on here. I've had 4 kids. We moved here 29 years ago. I've got to know a lot of people through my kids and through my work and listening to them. And that's kind of what got me to run, was listening to my clients telling me about things, and they encouraged me and everything. And I would like to take my years of experience, I've took to working to make a business work and put it towards the county. I want to listen to people, come up with, I have no agenda, an unbiased vote. I just want to make Phillips County prosper. And that's what I would like to see. And I think I would be a good county commissioner. Thank you.
Well, very good, thank you. I'd like to thank Kathy and Larry and Craig for coming on this evening. Someone out this, I know I'll get this tomorrow. Someone said, why didn't you ask that? Well, we didn't make up the questions. The questions were given us. So if a question you had tonight wasn't answered, wasn't asked, it wasn't because of us, it was because that you didn't ask it. And they put up their time to come with us, and it's a hot seat, basically, you have to answer. They had no idea what the questions were beforehand, so it's just a good opportunity. And if you do have a question, we invite you to between now and tomorrow, or a week from tomorrow, when it's election day, to ask those questions and get those answered, because if you don't vote, you can't complain. I've always said that. Bottom line, if you don't vote, don't complain about what's going on, and you can vote early now. So we do appreciate all of you coming in and joining us this evening, and good luck in the election coming up. And you have a week and a day to look at that and work on it. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thursday morning on the Tadpole, we'll be there doing our program concerning the fair, not the fair, the rodeo. We did the fair last week. The fair was last week, had a good fair, and we had a good program Saturday morning talking with everyone. And we'll be doing our rodeo show Thursday morning. Saturday, we'll be there broadcasting the parade live, so you can watch it. If you can make it, you can watch the parade Saturday afternoon right here on that. So again, thank you again for joining us. And do need any more rain?
What's that?
Do we need any more
We
rain?
can always use
Okay, good.
You never turn it down.
rain, do you?
Never turn it down.
rain.
No.
So thanks a lot, and again, good luck next Tuesday. Appreciate you coming.
Thank
in.
you.
Thank
Fine,
you.